Hey there, record living friends. How goes it? Okay. Just checking to make sure everything's good. I think we're okay. How's everybody doing? You guys good? I wasn't feeling well today, actually. I was feeling kind of rotten and I took the well, I took the day to rest and just like work from home. And so yeah, I got a bit of rest in, so I feel a little bit better. But I was just like feeling not that good today, and I was having a conversation earlier this week with a buddy of mine who it's an interesting character. He's like on the okay, if we've got super progressive and super conservative, and we've got super, what do we want to call it? Super socialist and super get off my lawn, and we have these like quadrants basically. He's in a very interesting quadrant. It's the libertarian quadrant, but it's the like gun toting progressive libertarian quadrant. It's very interesting. He's like he's not doesn't like the administration, and he's very get off my lawn and a very freedom and liberty guy, but he's not a Trump supporter at all. And so he was telling me about why my indifference to the whole thing is probably not serving me or him or the country well. And because basically I am more or less, truth be told, a little bit indifferent about the president. I don't really have a very outspoken opinion about him. I have an opinion, but I don't care to share it publicly. So I grew up in my home, and judge me for how you want to judge me, or judge my folks for how you want to judge my folks. But we did not like politics was definitely on the dinner table, but it was not a thing that we decided. We didn't side. Like we would go to school on the election day, and we would come home and we would say to our parents, we're a Reagan family, or are we a Bush family? Are we a Clinton family, or are we a who ran against Clinton? Are we a Kerry family, or no, who was it? Yeah, I'm forgetting who ran against Clinton. And my mom would always say to my dad, "Why don't you ask your dad?" Say to us kids, "Why don't you ask your dad?" And my dad would always say, "Hey there, why don't you ask your mom what she thinks about it? What do you think about it?" You know. And my parents never really indicated ever who they voted for, ever once. And maybe later in life, they've become a little bit. My mother more so has been a little bit outspoken about her politics, but my father has remained pretty tight-lipped about it. And I'm not going to assume I know how he votes, because he's an independent, I guess you would say, as am I. So I'll leave it at that. But I was talking to my very like I said, progressive libertarian gun-toting friend who spends most of his days like down at the range and prepping for uh prepping for the end of times. And but he's a very interesting cat, very, very intelligent, and goes back to the beginning of so many things. He's a little bit of a spook, to be honest. I think he probably would have been. I read a great book forever ago about the CIA, and it depicted the CIA as basically comprised of two different types of characters: cowboys and angels. And cowboys were cavalier and uh, took the law into their own hands at times, and angels were uh, sort of altruistic and like didn't really have a higher place to put their intelligence, something like this. and great book. But at any rate, he could have been an angel. I think my buddy. I think he would have been. He would have fit right in with in the CIA, and he probably would have been an angel. I think. And he goes back to the beginning of the internet. He's got like 3 or 4 older brothers. He's got some years on me, but his 3 or 4 older brothers are like even more brilliant than he is. He's a genius. He's a genius. I'm sure he's a genius. And one of my bestest buds. But he's got a peculiar outlook on the world. And he sent me a link earlier this week. Hey, dude, in the house. Nice to see you, Stuart. Coming in from Nashville. Vincent Whitehead. Hey, how do you do? Thanks for being here, Vincent. How'd you like my thumbnail for today? Tokyo versus Trump. I'll pull it up here in a second. But my pal sent me to a website today called the Dark Enlightenment. You guys must know about the Dark Enlightenment. I hadn't actually heard this before, or if I had, it went in one ear and out the other. And he told me that I need to read up on the Dark Enlightenment. And he sent me a link to the wiki page for Dark Enlightenment. And it led me down a very peculiar rabbit hole that inspired me to just fire up today's stream with a little bit of forethought, but not a whole ton. So my plan for this stream is to talk about my findings and take us to a place that's not really too it's not really too of a hot button topic. But let me start by sharing a few things. Okay, let me make sure I know what I'm doing here. Share screen. I want to share a window. Okay. Let's make sure it pops up. Okay, what other configurations do I have? Where can I see my different layouts? This one? Maybe we do like reverse. Can we go like this? Yeah. I'm happy to stay on screen. Sorry, guys. I'm just, this is not my normal jam. How about this? Well, we can do that. That should be fine. Is there another? How can I reverse this one? Let's see if I can flip it. What happens if I press it again? No. Replace. Okay, well, we'll go with that for now. I can switch between these two. At any rate, yeah, so I just was like, I don't know what, I grew a really wild hair. This is not something that I would normally do. I would not put a Tokyo versus Trump for my thumbnail, but I had kind of a fun time with this thumbnail. I literally put this together in 5 minutes time. I just literally made dinner, sat down, and whipped this up in about 10 minutes. But yeah, so I have some slides that I want to share with you, and I just kind of want to, like, I don't know, talk about this a little bit together. You can leave some comments if you want, and just see where I'm going with this. It's going to be a little bit of a wild ride. 4Ds in the house. I gotta kind of like, how hot it gets may depend on who arrives in chat. That's true. It could be true. That was my attention grabbing thumbnail, says Stuart from Nashville. I'm of the opinion that government is best when it's malignant. Yeah, okay. That's, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Whoops, I mean benign. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, benign. Yeah, because I tend to agree with you, yeah, I think probably, Stuart, you and I are of the, let's say, skin tone and nationality where, I mean, nationality is sort of like, doesn't really matter when you're just talking about the states. But I think we're in the majority that works fairly well for us. But it probably, if we were of a different skin tone and had a different passport, it probably wouldn't work. Maybe we would be saying doesn't work all that well for us. Whoops, he did say benign, not malignant. Okay, so let me pull this slide up. Let's see if this will this go? Let's see if it'll flip. It should. Oh, you're not gonna do that? You're gonna stay on there? You're gonna make me reshare it every time? Come on. Hold on, let me just sit through this for a second. Oh, that's gonna be a mess if that's I've got a slideshow here opened, and I want it to advance to the next slide, but it's not advancing. That's annoying. For real? Okay. Well, we'll just take them one by one, I guess. Replace. We'll just take it slide by slide. Oh, you don't want to do that. Come on now. Really? Let's try this. There we go. That'll work. Okay. So, yeah, the Dark Enlightenment. Have you guys heard of the Dark Enlightenment? I'm going to read a little bit, and I probably won't even be able to read all of these words, or I probably won't even know what most of them mean, and I'm just going to like rattle through some of them. But what do you guys know about the Dark Enlightenment? Leave a comment in the chat here. Dark Enlightenment. The Dark Enlightenment, also called Neo-Reactionary Movement, abbreviated to NRX, is an anti-democratic, anti-egalitarian, and reactionary philosophical and political movement, a reaction against Enlightenment values. Okay, that's where you get the it's the Dark Enlightenment. It is what it says it is. It favors a return to traditional society structures and forms of government, such as absolute monarchism and cameralism. 4D, you can help us out with this one. Influenced by libertarianism, the movement advocates for authoritarian capitalist city-states which compete for citizens. Neo-reactionaries refer to contemporary liberal society and institutions which they oppose as the cathedral. Okay, so yeah, so if you're part of the new world order, or I should say like existing world order, you are part of the cathedral, associating them with the Puritan church and their goals of egalitarianism and democracy as the synopsis. Oh wait, maybe I got them flipped. Should we try that again? Neo-reactionaries refer to the contemporary liberal society. Okay, I had it right. And this is and institutions which they oppose as the cathedral. So if you're a modern day sort of let's say liberal, then you're the cathedral. Okay, you're part of the cathedral, so associating you with the Puritan church and the goals of egalitarianism and democracy as the synopsis. They claim that the cathedral influences public discourse to promote progressivism and political correctness, which they view as a threat to Western civilization. The movement also espouses scientific racism, pseudoscientific view, which they claim is suppressed by the cathedral. Okay. Then you read this word Curtis Yarvin, which I'm sure some of you know well about. I didn't know well about. I maybe had heard the name in passing, and maybe I'd clicked on him once before, but I didn't really exactly know who he was. He's a character in this movement. Okay, you can click on him. You can look up Dark Enlightenment and click through. He is let's see if my mouse will pop up. Yeah, he's the guy sitting up here in black and white. Okay, that's Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin began constructing the basis of the ideology in the late 2000s. Okay, so the Dark Enlightenment is did it say in the late 2000s? Okay, it's only about 10 years old. Okay, so this is a new neo-reactionary movement, brand new, the Dark Enlightenment, just 10 years ago, 10-15 years ago, with Nick Land, who is down here at the bottom. He's the other black and white character. Nick Land elaborating and coining the term Dark Enlightenment. Wow, I don't know if I caught that when I read it the first time. They named their own movement the Dark Enlightenment. Okay, well, to each his own. The movement also has also had contributions from figures such as venture capitalist Peter Thiel. He's the guy in color here, pictured in the middle. Peter Thiel is one of the founders of PayPal, and he's like an old Silicon Valley guy. Despite criticism, the movement has gained traction with parts of Silicon Valley, as well as several political figures associated with the United States President Trump, including strategist Steve Bannon, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Michael Anton. Okay. The Dark Enlightenment has been described as part of the alt-right, as its theoretical branch, and as neo-fascists. Okay, so this is kind of, yeah, it's the neo. So I guess maybe if you're like a Proud Boy or you're a MAGA person, maybe you have a different view on this, or I don't really know. This is the first time I've ever read anything about it, but I think it's if you're right, this is kind of alt right or far right. You tell me. Um, it has been described as the most significant political theory within the alt-right, as key to understanding the alt-right political ideology, and as providing a philosophical basis for considerable amounts of alt-right political activity. University of Chichester professor Benjamin No blah 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 blah. Okay, then you get down to history down here at the bottom. And it says here, so I'm just studying about this. Okay, so my friend sends me this link. I'm like, okay, Peter Thiel. I've heard, yeah, Peter Thiel. We have from the old photography days. We have some PayPal people in our circles. So Peter Thiel, I've heard Peter Thiel's name for a long time, and we were talking about Elon and talking about, he was just trying to school me on, the dark enlightenment. I said, okay, I'll read the page. So I'm reading it. This is literally what I'm doing. We're going a little deep. Don't worry, we're not going too deep. We're getting out of this rather quickly, so don't worry. Says, hold on, let's read some of these comments. Let's see. I recognize Peter. Oh, hold on, let's see. Dude ass face says, I recognize Peter Thiel right off the bat. Yeah, Peter Thiel. And he says, I ascribe more to panopticon. Help me out there. I should be able to pronounce that. Panopticon theory. Panopticon. Peter Gabriel had an interesting song on that new record, I.O., that he just released. Panopticon. It sounds like that. It's a different word, but it's the prison where everybody is looking at each other. It's called like a panopticon or something like that. It's probably a Latin word and it's something about like this psychology of everybody like guarding everybody else does something psychological to the prisoners theory, and that all good people and that good people won't speak up for fear of judgment or retribution. Okay, well, that's, you ascribe to that, or you believe that's what's we have. I think I believe that that's probably what we have. Good people won't speak up for fear of judgment or retribution, where how we process morality and ethics is through that filter, right? More or less. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. If push comes to shove, maybe I'll be the house that capitulates. They come to my friend tends to think that when they come to his block, and with the tanks and the guns, and the first house capitulates, every house down the block will also capitulate. When they say forfeit your guns and come outside and hop on the train and come with us, my friend says that he's not going, and he's got the windows like ready to be boarded up, and he's ready to put up a fight. So, but maybe I would be the first one to give up the house. Okay, fine, you got me. I'll go with you. Where are we going? Maybe that would be me. But on the other hand, so long as it's only my character that risks judgment or retribution, and if I feel moral and just, then I think I'm more pro. Well, I say this. I tried to say it humbly, but I hope I would stand up for my virtues, and I would speak up, even with judgment. I'm at an age where maybe I'd be more nervous to be judged at a younger age, but now, like, my mother, she's like, I got no more fucks to give. I got no more fucks to give. I gave them all away a long time ago. So anyway, we're still going along here. All right. So I'm reading down here, and I promise we're getting off this relatively soon. The history of the Dark Enlightenment. Are you enjoying this, by the way, folks? Leave a comment if you're enjoying. I'm doing my best. Oh, there's lots of comments. Shit. Let's see. Are we going? Okay, we're going deep. Okay, 40's got a comment here. All I know is the top left photo looks like Matt at Pop Goes the 60s guy on the top. Guy on top right, Pibithol in 5 years. Top right. Okay, Pibithol in 5 years. Hold on. Top left looks like Matt at Pop Goes the Wheels. Okay, that would be Gavin. Curtis Yavin. Then let's see. I don't know if that's nice to say 4D. Okay, a little bit. Yeah, you could compare these two characters in the VC, I suppose. Um, yeah, this last guy on the bottom right, please don't compare him to anybody because he says he's got an eccentric thinker in fascist Italy. He also had ties to Nazi Germany in the post-war era. So anyway, these were hold on, let me get there. All right, just a second. Panopticon. Now it seems like easy to pronounce. Panopticon. Pan means many, right? Panopticon. Yes, that's I scribe in that. I think that's what's happening. I don't like it in particularly. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so anyway, I'm going down here to history. I'm noticing like part of a series of neo-fascism, Britain First International, third position, Casa Pound, Forza Nova, Avantgardia, Nation, blah, 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 blah. Freedom and Direct Democracy, Golden Dawn. Okay, I've never heard of any of these. The Grey Wolves, the People's Party of Slovakia. Okay, so it's all these national movements. Where's the Japan one? Oh, there's the Proud Boys. They're in there. Our Homeland Movement, Patriot Front, the Union Movement. Okay, movements and organizations, I guess, associated. Okay, you can call me out for not agreeing that Wikipedia is a reliable source. That's fair enough. This is really not. I'm not. I don't care about getting into a debate. This actually is not about politics in the end. I promise. But I'm reading a little bit further, and it says here. Neo-reactionaries are under history here. Neo-reactionaries are the informal community of bloggers. Oh my God, really? You guys are just bloggers? The neo-reactionaries are an informal community of bloggers. That's so lame. Okay, and political theorists. Okay, who have been active since the 2000s. It reminds me of the scene from The Big Lebowski where he's in bed with Maude and he's like, you ever hear of the Seattle 7? Yeah, that was me. Okay, so then he says here, the article says, Steve Salier and Hans Hermann Hoppe are contemporary forerunners of this ideology of okay, which is also heavily influenced by the political thought of Thomas Hobbes, Thomas Carlyle, and Julius Evola. Okay, so I hovered over hovered over Thomas Hobbes, and this little window popped up. Okay, then I hovered over, and I read this little blip. Thomas Hobbes was an English philosopher, best known for his 1651 book Leviathan, in which he expounds an influential formulation of social contract theory. He is considered to be one of the founders of the modern political philosophy. Okay, look at this. Okay, this is an oil painting, right? And it's in that sort of Rembrandt, candlelit or window light, dramatic Renaissance kind of style of painting, right? So then I hover over this guy, Thomas Carlyle, and this little window pops up. Okay, and I see this guy. Okay, whoa, that's an interesting. Thomas Carlyle was a Scottish essayist, historian, and philosopher known as the Sage of Chelsea. His writing strongly influenced the intellectual and the artistic culture of the Victorian era. He looks very interesting, right? Then I hover over this guy, Julius Evola, and I see this like, whoa, a guy almost looks like Dracula. It's like, look at this dramatic light. It's kind of like it's like the cover of the Beatles record, right? It's that one that's like, he looks so serious, and look at his brow all furrowed. Giulio, how do I say that? Giulio. I can't pronounce words tonight. Giulio Cesare Andre Julius Evola was an Italian far-right philosopher and writer. Evola regarded his values as traditional, aristocratic, martial, and imperialistic, an eccentric thinker in fascist Italy. He also had ties to Nazi Germany, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I look at these three guys, And I say like, damn, that's a nice portrait. That's a nice, I love that light. I love that Rembrandt lighting. It's so dramatic. He's so flattered. He looks so stoic. He looks so statuesque, right? Then I look at this picture of Thomas Carlyle and I'm like, wow, it's like beautiful, like the dawn of photography. He's got like, it's like after the era where they didn't know how to pose, and like there's a pose here, a pensive pose. He looks like the thinking man, and he's got his beard and he's got quite a cough, and he looks like a very interesting cat, right? And then this other guy, Julius Evola, man, he looks diabolical. He looks like, you know, looks, like I said, he looks draconian, right? I'm just like looking at these three guys. They look so important. They look so historical. And I just stack them up to these three guys who have like adopted, their thought as the premise for their dark enlightenment movement. And I'm just thinking, wow, that's a shame. That's a far cry from something stoic. I mean, this guy looks truly like an informal community of blogger leader, and this guy looks like a Silicon Valley startup CEO, and this guy looks like, just like a anybody engineer, nondescript dude. I don't even know. I've already forgotten his name, Nick Land. No offense, but just like, okay, the pictures are like so nice. And just compared to these three, I just thought that they were a little bit pathetic. And I think as I scrolled down this page, I eventually got to a part where, oh my God, this is great. This is great. Hold on. Disclaimer, their looks, not their characters. Yes, we're talking about their looks. That's where we've gone. It's that shallow. That's where we've gone. We're talking about looks, guys. Okay, now I have two VC matches for the lower two photos. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to dignify this comment, but on my advice of my attorney, I'm keeping it to myself. Please do. I do not wish to start a war with anybody. But as I scrolled down, I came to a link that was something about Trump. It said something about Trump, Trump's second presidency. That was the hyperlink. It was in blue letters somewhere on here, a little bit further down the page. Maybe it was on here. I don't know. I just hovered over this, and an incredible photo came up. It's the photo from this one. Is it going to come up? Hold on. It was this one. This one that I used in the picture, and I thought, oh my God, that's a great photo. Hold on a second. Come on, baby. Oh, I see. Nah. Oh, you're not gonna play nice, are you? Come on. Really? You little stinker. What's going on there? Okay. Well, I guess I'll skip over it. Or maybe I can do this one. Hold on. Probably here we go. Okay, there we go. Okay. Getting there. Just a second. Okay, it's not working. Let's try this. Okay, anyway. Oh, there we go. There we go. Finally. It's this portrait, okay? It's this portrait. And I'm looking at this portrait. I'm hovering over it, and it just strikes me. I'm like, wow, this is a good portrait. This is like an excellent portrait, right? I'm thinking like, wow, it's really good. And let me tell you what makes it good. This is a blog. This blog just, or this vlog or live stream just instantly shifted into photography. So we're talking about photography henceforth. And if that's not your jam, sayonara. Thanks for hanging out. It's a blog about photography. Um, this photo. Hey Bryce, I see you. Let's see. Um, hold on. Okay, Bryce has got a few comments. Let's see here. Let's read what Bryce says. My homie Bryce is in the house. Okay, these dudes aren't libertarians. They're fascists. Their theories are breaking through into the mainstream in frightening ways. The manosphere is full of the rhetoric without the knowledge of the source. Okay, well, you heard it from Bryce. Um, I'm just learning about them myself, basically. But I'm neither really here nor there about it, or at least I should say in a public way. Um, Panopticon comes from faux salt. Faux salt. Help me out, folks. I'm not. That doesn't really. You aren't throwing me a bone there, Bryce. I'm not that bright. Discipline and punish by faux salt. Faux salt should be required reading to graduate high school. In my opinion. Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you, I haven't read it, and but thank you for sharing that. Says dude ass face. Yes. Um, yeah. Shows you how smart, how it shows you the brainiacs that we have here in the chat. Thanks for thanks for mentioning that. Agreed on discipline and punish. Okay. So anyway, I'm sorry. This is going to become a rather basic stream for some of you, but I want to talk about photography. But this is how I got down the rabbit hole that I got down today. It was this portrait, and but it's kind of interesting because it has some kind of interesting political thoughts, but not exactly inklings. But I saw this photo, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a great photo. This is a fantastic photo. And I'm just like looking at it, and I'm going to tell you what's great about it. Okay. The first thing is the depth of field. Okay. It has a very shallow, but not ridiculously shallow depth of field. A lens, a really great camera lens might have a maximum aperture of, like, let's say 1.2 or 1.8. And it's always really tempting to crank it all the way to 1.8 or to 1.2 to its maximum aperture to achieve the most sort of alien type or most creative type of portrait. And it takes sometimes some restraint to actually click it back a few notches to f3 or f2.8. And depth of field also has an effect based on how close you are to the subject. So the closer you are to a subject, the more dramatic, the more shallow the depth of field becomes. And the further away you get from the subject, the deeper the depth of field becomes, even if you do not change the aperture of the lens. So because and another thing to say is that when you open the lens to a full aperture, you're not necessarily getting the lens at its optimal capabilities. You're getting some compromise. I don't exactly know why, but it has something to do with optics and optical engineering. But lenses, a 1.2 lens might perform its sweet spot. It might have a sweet spot at f2.8 or f4 or f5. And yet you're always tempted to open that lens all the way. And the photographer here probably shot this at f4, I'm going to guess, or possibly even f5. And what happens if you take a really fast lens and you get really close to the subject and you use a little bit bigger aperture than you might think you should use? You get graceful fall off. You get gorgeous fall off that just, it elegantly falls out of focus. It doesn't just drop out of focus like a paper thin depth of field, a paper thin plane of focus, and everything behind it and everything in front of it falls out of focus. You get this elegant, slow, gradual variation that drops off of the face. And in this case, it puts the front of his nose in focus. It puts his eyebrows in focus. It puts the front of his hair in focus, which is illuminated by these wisps of hairs that are reflecting the light that is right above his head. It captures all of the detail in his skin on the front of his face, and it even captures what's behind his eyes, this detail on the side of his face. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, good grief, it's a photo. Like, can you make a big deal out of it? Yes, actually you can. This is a masterful photo. This just doesn't happen. You look at a photo like this, I don't want to say you, but like we tend, those of us who don't really know what goes into photos tend to look at something like this and just say, oh, it's what's good. But the somebody who has crafted this kind of thing over and over and over understands what it took to create this image. And I just have to stand back in awe. Like the guy or dislike the guy, this is an excellent photo. They don't get better, actually. Portraits, they don't really get better than this. And just a couple more things to say about it. I mean, and I'm going to talk a lot more about it, but a couple more things to say about it. There's a hair light, okay? This is where we look as photographers. Let's see, maybe I can even zoom in. Can I zoom in on this? Maybe I can't. Um, let's see if we can. Can we? No, I won't bother you, but with it. But like there's a light behind him that is illuminating the back of his hair and just coming just ever so tenderly across his face. It feels weird to say tenderly, but it's just like illuminated. It almost looks like sweat. He's got sweat here, and he's got this texture all over his face. It's actually not a very flattering texture, but it's both highly detailed and actually cleaned up and softened at the same time. They've kind of boosted the sharpness of it, and yet somehow I know how they're doing it, but I don't exactly know if I can explain it. And soften the images, soften the pores as well. And they've definitely gone in and like cleaned up a lot of like little what do they call them? Artifacts. It's not the word I'm looking for, but they've cleaned up blemishes on his face and little things like this. And the light, there's another light you can see in his pupil. I really wish I could zoom in right here. I'll try it. I'll do it. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get out of that. Let me try sharing this. Let's see. You can see here in his eye, this is crazy, right? You can see the different light sources, not so well in this picture, but you can kind of see them. And you can see there's a light that's above his eye. This is like, if you want to call this the center of his pupil, he's got one light that's coming up over here. It might be a reflector. We're not totally sure. There's not a whole lot of detail in this pupil. And he's got a light here that's basically on eye level. It's coming like just 90 degrees. And then he's got another light that's coming from below. Okay. And there's virtually no catchlight in his other eye. So that just had me looking at this photo and had me going like, wow, that's a really spectacular photo. And I said, okay, of course, I'm looking at that pose, his mugshot. Let me see what happens here. I'm going to play this. Yeah, give me a second. It gave me, it made me think of this mugshot. And I said, like, okay, okay. So remember, this mugshot had a moment, right? The mugshot totally had this huge moment where everybody was talking about the mugshot. And just a second. And I went and looked up this mugshot, and I think I have it. I have it down here. I should have pulled it up. Let's see. We'll jump to it. This was the famous mugshot, right? And this mugshot has its own wiki page. And I'm reading about the mugshot, and of course, this mugshot story is hilarious. I wonder if they have it here. We'll read a little bit about it. The August 24th, 2023, on August 24th, 2023, after being indicted on racketeering and related charges, Donald Trump, a former president of the United States, who went on to win the 2024 presidential election, voluntarily surrendered himself to authorities in Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, Georgia, where a mugshot of him was taken. In the photograph, Trump is wearing a blue suit with a white shirt and red tie, glowers at the camera in front of the gray backdrop. His face is lit from the side and from above. Okay, so we can see the light is coming from here and from the side. You can see that this side of his face is in shadow and this side of his face is illuminated, right? So it's coming from above and from the side here. Okay, let's see. It is the first and thus far only police booking photograph of a U.S. president. Okay, after publishing the mugshot that it was used for merchandise. I'm going to get back to that in a second. So anyway, I'm like looking at that, and then I remember, like, oh, he used that in the like he used it as a portrait that made the rounds. And so then I went and I found this photo, which is different from this photo. And I thought, oh, okay, this is the photo that was going around. And this is when he must have started using this expression. This had to have been like, well, it's not that long ago, but it's like 2023. He did that mugshot, and then they were like, oh, that is great. We got to use that mugshot. We got to use that mugshot glowering expression every single time. So the photographer comes in and he makes this photo happen here on the left. And if you take a look at this one, dang it, I can't zoom in. If you take a look at this one, right under his pupils here, you'll see a big white light source. And under this pupil too, you'll also see a big light white source. And what this means is that the photographer put probably like a big reflector or a big light source under the chin. It put it like under his chin, right? One light source from above, like I have right here. There's a light source right here. One light source from behind that's like illuminating the back of him. And it's leaving this background in shadow, but is lighting the back of his head. The back of his suit. And the one light source from below, which we almost like never do. It's kind of like, it's like, I keep talking about it, but it's like what you do at a campground. I'm going to read some of the comments here in just a second. It's something that you do at a campsite. You put the flashlight, the torch under your mouth and you go, ooh, and you look like a monster. Okay. It's not something that you do. And you can see when light is coming from above, you see shadow under people's nose because your nose comes out of your face. So you have a shadow under your nose, unless the light is like right in front of you, your nose creates a shadow under the nose, just like it does here. And when it doesn't, it creates a shadow above your nose. And that's what helps make you look ghoulish, is these shadows that come from below and cast shadows upwards on your face. That looks so crazy. And you look deranged when you have this kind of lighting. People lean into it and they do it. But I want you to remember that there are light sources below his eyes here, okay? That makes him look insane, okay? It looks crazy, right? But compare that to this photo over on the right. Now, you might think that they're basically the same photo. But what I see here is I see a photographer who figured something the fuck out. This photo was a try. He tried to get it right on this photo. This photo, he got it right. This photo was like the gag. It was the joke. It was the like, oh, let's do the mugshot pose. And he did it all wrong. And then he was like, let's have another stab at it, if it even is the same photographer. But this one is the same pose, but the correct lighting. This is the wrong lighting. This is the correct lighting. And this kind of like got me kind of excited today. I got to see like a photographer's passage from like doing some I ended up looking this up, and I'll steal my own thunder. It's the same photographer. It's the same guy. The same guy made both photographs. I wondered. I was like, surely the same guy didn't make the same photograph. It turns out the same guy made the same photograph. Okay, let's pause there for. Well, actually, let me just close this out. He made one more photograph of Vance, JD Vance, and it's from the same session. I would think that is this session, not this session. Okay. Look at JD Vance. He's got like the light is like, if you look at his eyes, you can see the light source that's coming down from below his eyes. You just look at the pupils. And if there's the pupils are the center, and if there's light coming from above, like the sun above our heads, then that's normal. If there's light below the pupils, it means that somebody has put light. It's like, when do we have light below our eyes? Ever in our homes, in our houses, when we're walking out on the street, we never have light coming below. So our eyes don't like to see light coming from below. It looks crazy. And this is why these photos look a little bit insane. They're really intense, extremely intense. But this is like presidential. I mean, you say you see pure evil. This on the right side, this will go down in the Rembrandt photo that I mentioned before. It's going to go down like one of these. It's not going to go down like one of these. It will go down like this. I mean, just take my word for it. I know you don't want to, like, if you're anti-Trump, dude, and you see nothing but pure, just from a photography point of view, this photo is so good. Okay, and but this photo on the right, it's like it's an interesting attempt, but it's pretty fucking whack, as are these photos of JD Vance. So let me read some comments there. Let me take this down. I got more to say about this, but just give me a second. Let's see. What do you guys think? Talking about what? What are we talking about? Where did my thing go? Oh yeah, we're talking about the neo-fascists, the Dark Enlightenment. Okay, these are part of the Dark Enlightenment. I'm trying to do the Light Enlightenment on photography. Okay, there's a lot of comments. I'm going to try to get to some of them. Let's see. Okay. Breakfast King of Loyal, Paul, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I wonder how many Americans, even with bachelor degrees, have read the. See, there you go. I've got a bachelor degree, and I haven't read the word that I can't even pronounce. Not many, unfortunately. I'm actually like a really terrible reader. I have a good book collection, but I'm so bad. Yeah. Okay, good morning, Bill Codville. Nice to see you, dude. Thanks for being here. Yeah, beautiful portrait, says Mike S. Oh, pig. Okay, he must not like Trump. This is not a pro or anti-Trump comment. This is a photography. This became a photography conversation. Okay, haha. Agreed, Mike. Agree with Mike S. on the photo. Joel Meyerowitz believes a good street photo consists of good light, interesting subject, good background, and the moment. Yeah, totally. That's all it really takes. Let's see here. Let's read this one more time. Good light, interesting subject, good background, and the moment. I would say, instead of the moment, really, I'm just riffing here, but I would say humanity. That's what I would, for a portrait, not for a good street photo. Good street photo, okay, yeah, maybe the moment. For a good street portrait, or any portrait, it requires humanity, like really empathy, like pure empathy, like the purest that you can get. That's what, when you see a really good photo, that is what you are seeing. You are seeing the empathy that has been communicated in two ways between a subject and a photographer. I was thinking, somebody told me the other day, or I heard a question being posed to somebody the other day, like, what's your favorite place in the world? What's your favorite spot? And I was thinking about what is my favorite spot, and I didn't take me very long to know exactly where my favorite spot is. My favorite spot is right behind the camera. It's right where the tripod's right there. The person's over there. I'm talking to them. I'm in my little place. Sometimes even the picture's upside down. That's how I'm happy there, right? The image is like the upside down one, and I'm like under the dark. What do you call it? The dark thing. How long have I been doing this? I don't even know what it's called. The dark. You know what it is. The cave. I call it the cave. Help me out, Bryce. And that is the spot. That's the best spot. I could just die there happy. That would be like, if I could die, if I could pick a place to die, that would be the spot. Just keel over there and be like, I died doing what I really, really loved. Let's see a few more comments. This could go on a while. I have more stuff oh, come on, don't do that. Okay, I can't stand the subject on the and the moment with this wearing my politics on my sleeve. That's okay. I mean, I admire those who do wear their politics on the sleeve, and I feel like you are fighting for me. You know, I know that I can serve my immediate world in other ways that don't require me to like pick a team. I'm not a good team picker, and it's not that I'm not engaged, and it's not that I'm like fearful of like judgment, or I just think it's like private. It's and I get it from my parents. It's just private to me. I see determination and concentration, and the sharp face with all else falling away, out of focus, is symbolic of single-minded concentration. Lens, lighting, simulate subject's internal life. I will tell you, this excellent photo that you saw, unfortunately, it was an accident, I think. Sorry to the photographer, but I think this photographer I think it was dumb luck. I think it was dumb luck that this photographer got that shot that I love so much. And I'll tell you why here in a little bit. I don't think there was any conceptualization of this image. But yeah, from the subject side, I see determination and concentration, and the sharp face with all else falling away, out of focus, is a symbolic single. It's post conceptualization, sure. Single-minded concentration. Lens, lighting, simulate subjects internal life. I have to give that one some more thought. Okay, am I going to get to them all? I might not be. Ironically, he wouldn't look so concentrated if the photo was cropped to the sharp face with no unfocused tie or shirt and jacket to contrast with the sharp face. Ironically, he wouldn't look so concentrated. I think yeah, could be. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at it a little bit further. I'm going to go into it. I see pure evil, says Breakfast King of Loyola. Or maybe it's just really bright in Hades. Okay, I'm gonna try not to laugh. The medium is the message. Name that theory. Oh, that's Children's End, right? That's Asimov, I think. I love your perspective on these things, Brian. You spin it in a way I think no one else would. Wow. Well, okay. Cheers, Zeb. But why, Brian? Why? Because it's a challenge. I've dared myself to talk about it. That's kind of what it is. I was like, can I? What can I? It was a challenge, and inspiration struck, and so that's why. I'm sorry to disagree, Brian. Trump isn't showing humanity in that photo. Oh, he definitely is. He definitely is in that photo. He is intentionally trying to be the face of anger and fear, almost anti-human. That is human. Trying to show the face of Iran. That's where I would agree with you. That's where I would like agree/disagree with you. It is very human to show that fear and anger, and yeah, that's very human. I mean, I think there's a lot of evidence right here in the VC of some fear and anger cells. It's a thing. We love it. We love fear and anger. It's a thing that we thrive on. So I think it's very human, for better or worse. I think my favorite photographer is Robert Frank. Yes, have I I did talk about Robert Frank on my last I'm going to tomorrow morning is going to be I'm going to give it my college try. I'm going to try to wake up early and do my part 2 of my photography thing tomorrow morning. The book The Americans just always stays with me, and you've seen it in every photos, and if you've ever seen it, every photo is a masterpiece. I totally agree. I love The Americans. Dude, that's face. Go watch my last video about photographic album covers. I talk about Robert Frank and The Americans. And if you don't know, Exile on Main Street is a Robert Frank cover, as well as a couple others that I featured in that video, I think. And it's an outtake from The Americans, Exile on Main Street. Oh, gosh, you guys are stumping me. The McLuhan. Okay, hello, Stun Rock Confusion in the house. Oh wow, did I get to the? Okay, excellent. Okay, Sean means human as empathy. Yeah, yes, yeah, but I mean, you as a photographer, I mean, a smile is you're not always going for a happy photo. You're not always going for. I mean, Annie Leibovitz would say like, I don't want smiles in my photos. I don't, it's the last thing I want in my photos. I think who else? Yeah, I think it was like Sally Mann also, like famously had lots of people crying in her photos. I have a photo that I grew up with that is kind of a sort of North Star for me. That is my brother, who is like, God, I wish I could share it with you guys about my brother. My brother is a very, like, one of the most interesting people, one of the most interesting people I've ever encountered in all of my days. But I can't really go into him much. But there's a picture of him being held by my grandfather, a beautiful black and white photo that my grandfather, I'm sure, made in his home darkroom, of my brother screaming bloody murder, just like only a 2-year-old could do. My grandfather's holding him, and he's just doing that like insane strike of like wants his mom so bad, and he's like an animal. And there's a snap, and my grandfather is laughing, and it's so sweet and cute, and it's a thing that we all know. It evokes emotion. It evokes actually happiness. It's like happiness makes you cry. It's one of those kinds of things. And I'm not sure if like fear and anger make you happy, but I mean, there's a very it's full of story, like it's full of a story, and that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like there's a lot of storytelling there, and I think that's what makes it human. And that's actually like how it, like, you can, maybe you've never had a mugshot, but maybe somebody who's had a mugshot, or maybe like we can all imagine him going into a thing and being like, all right, you gonna take my picture? Okay, take my picture. And it was just like, there's something there. There's something there. It really is. There really is. I mean, they made T-shirts, and they made all kinds of stuff, and you'll hear more about it. So let's keep going. Uh, Bryce is taking off. Oh, bummer. Did Bryce? You got to go. Okay, Bryce. Thanks for being here, dude. Federal court. Okay, Bryce is our attorney friend. Bryce has got a weighted opinion here in Tokyo Record Style World. I'm in federal court on Monday. He's my attorney, where I'll have to see that cursed photo. Okay, well, don't think about it too. It's a great photo if it's the one that I'm referring to. Think about that, Bryce. Think about how wonderful the photo is, actually. Like, whether it was dumb luck or whether it was intention. Yeah, so I'm going to keep going here. Orinko Flojo. I like Toshio Shibata, but that's not street photography. I like fan ho street photos, probably the best. Cool. Okay, 2 names I don't know. Toshio Shibata and Fan Ho. Toshio Shibata must be Japanese, and Fan Ho maybe Hong Kongese. Hey, you, James. Um, aren't driver's license photo mugshots? Ah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. You can relate to that. Okay, so moving along here, I thought, who took this photo, right? Who on earth took this photo? So I looked him up. I'm like, I'm going on my dark enlightenment like rabbit hole. I keep going a little bit further, and I come to find out that the photographer is a guy called Daniel Torok. Daniel Torok is an American photographer and filmmaker. And this is really interesting, okay? This is the guy, he's done the self portrait of himself here. And I don't know when his birthday is, but he assumed office in January 20th, 2025. Okay, so this year, he's only been at the job for 7 months, okay? He's serving as chief official White House photographer since 2025 during the second presidency of Donald Trump. Prior to his career in media creation in 2004, Turok served in the United States Coast Guard. Okay, thank you for your service, sir. Turok was a filmmaker before he became a photographer. Okay, I checked his IDBM, IMDb rather. I don't know. There wasn't that much compelling work on it. No shade, but there was two or three things, and I think they were. You could go look at them, but I don't know. They would seem like, I feel bad for saying it, but like pet projects a little bit, but certainly better than what I could do. So I'm in envy of his pet projects. But at any rate, it wasn't a significant, particularly significant precedence on IMDb. So it says here. He did a video for the song "Same Love" by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Okay, that's cool. The next year he directed a documentary film titled "The Other Side" about Seattle hip hop scene. Okay, interesting. That's a little. Okay, in 2025, he became the chief official White House photographer under United States President Donald Trump. Trump's inaugural portrait was Turok's first time using studio lighting. In 2025, he became the chief official White House photographer, and Trump's inaugural portrait was Torok's first time using studio lighting. Wow. Okay. So, okay, fine. No biggie, but I'm just shocked that the guy who's photographing the Trump, do you have to have worked in the studio to be a seasoned photographer? No, you don't. You definitely don't. But I would think that if you were worth a little bit of salt and you knew you were going to have to, you know, photograph in lots of important moments, you would have some kind of basic understanding of studio lighting, or lighting in general. Studio lighting teaches you all the things that I've been rattling off here for the last 30 minutes or 40 or hour, I guess, have been, because I've worked in studios and I know what looks good, or at least what I think looks good, or what the masters say looks good. And putting light under somebody's chin, while a thing that you can do, there are no rules. It's not a thing that you would do unless you were really like, you know, I don't know, experimenting. But why would you go experimenting with the president? I don't know. Maybe it's cool. I'm not real sure. But I was kind of shocked to read that. What? A guy has the first time using studio lighting that took that amazing photo that I talk so like lovingly about, or lovingly, or what's the word, like admiringly about. Seriously? I mean, this is why I say, like, okay, this must have been his first time. This I'm like dumbfounded that he like there's this much improvement in 7 months. uh I just think it's dumb luck. That's why I think it's kind of like dumb luck. And sorry, Daniel, I don't want to throw shade at other photographers out there, but I'm sure I'd meet you and I'd eat my words and I'd have to, like, yeah, shave my head and put my shoe in my mouth. And so I take it back. I don't mean to be, but yeah, it's kind of, am I wrong to just like wonder about it? Okay, interesting. You got hired to do, I mean, dude, you got access to Air Force One, you got access to the Beast, you got access to the Oval Office, all fine photos, but you've never like you haven't you made a Macklemore video and what was the other one? Like a hip hop video, and you haven't worked in the studio? Um, okay. Wow. All right. That's kind of blew me away. I was like, maybe I should apply for the White House. Maybe I should apply for that job. I wouldn't pass the background check, but I don't know. I was pretty impressed. I was like, wow. Okay, so this is where it gets kind of fun. Okay, so the mugshot, he got inspiration to do the photos from the mugshot. Let's just one some more. Come on, let's give it up a little bit for Daniel Torok. Daniel, I'm sorry. This is a great photo. It really is. The one on the one on the right, left one. It's a thing. Put it in the box of things that I don't like, but maybe somebody else does. But this one on the right is good. Is properly good. Did you really illuminate these wisps of hair like that? Did you think to do that? These eyebrows, did you get them the way you wanted them? Did you light this little side of his face? Did somebody help you? What happened? How did you get from here to here? I'm dying to know. You've made a photograph to stand of time. And anyway, so these were some of the funny moments. Okay. So he took the inspiration from the mugshot. Let's see here. 90 minutes after Trump's release from the Fulton, this is kind of entertaining. 90 minutes after, that's where we are. 90 minutes, so an hour and a half after the release of the Fulton County Jail, from the Fulton County Jail on August 24th, the Trump campaign began selling T-shirts, mugs, and other merchandise within 90 minutes. With his booking photograph on August 26th, the campaign said it had raised $7.1 million since the release of the photo. The Lincoln Project, sellers on Etsy, and others also began selling merchandise with the booking photo. The Trump campaign, which did not hold the copyright, threatened to sue. And whoa, I didn't quite read that. The Trump campaign. Okay, so is the copyright? Who owns the copyright of a mugshot? I actually don't know. Does the photographer? Technically, I think the state or the police department should own the copyright, and whatever jurisdiction the police department is, that should be the owner, because you as the photographer being an employee of another company and you're like the staff photographer, you do not own the copyrights to your photos. The company does. FYI, generally speaking. Mazzy might know something about that. Mazzy's not here, is he? I can't. Yeah, Mazzy might know. That's a good question for Mazzy, actually. Generally, like, if you always own you always own the copyrights to the photos that you take, always, except when you are working not for somebody else as a client, but as somebody else as like a staff photographer. There you go. Breakfast King Loyola said government records are the public domain. Yeah, so we should be getting that 7.1 million. Good point, actually. That's a really good point. Government records are public domain. The copyrights are all, yeah, that should be, that's a good, interesting question. Interesting question. So let's see here. Threatened to sue any user who did not threatened to, so Trump campaign, which did not hold the copyright. They didn't even have the copyright. They threatened to sue any user who did not obtain their prior authorization. Man, if I sold a coffee cup on Etsy with that photo on it, and I got a letter from Trump saying that he was going to sue me, I would fucking put that thing on the wall and frame it. That'd be so awesome. For selling a coffee cup that neither I nor person telling that they were suing me own the copyright of the photo. Okay, and then it says here, and this is where it gets a little crazy. In December, you all know this already. It's just fun to revisit. I hadn't thought about this in a long time. In December 2023, Trump launched a set of digital trading cards as an NFT, which he labeled the Mugshot Edition. 100,000 digital cards were released at a price of $99 each. Customers who purchased 47 or more digital trading cards would receive one of 2,042 limited edition physical trading cards, 25 of which are hand signed by Trump, along with a piece of the suit that he wore in the Fulton County Jail for the mugshot, and an invitation to dine with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Wow, you only had to buy 47 digital trading cards, $4,700, The first 200, let's hold on. And an invitation to dine with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Wow, that seems like a cheap ticket to dine with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. The first 200 customers who purchased at least 100 would receive a unique NFT, 2 tickets to a cocktail reception with Trump, a second physical card with pieces of Trump's suit and tie, and 2 additional commemorative cards. Can you imagine like having one of those commemorative cards and then like, a piece of the tie and like a piece of the suit like on your trophy wall? It's something, if that's your jam. Like we might want to have like a piece of Ozzy's hair or, Paul McCartney's, bell bottoms. I don't know, but like it's kind of funny. So there was that. And then I thought this is Laura Trump, his daughter-in-law, and this guy is Hogan Gidley, who's the ex who was he? The speaker or the press secretary or something. Before Trump's arraignment in April 2023 in New York, his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, said that any mugshot of Trump would go down in history as the most famous mugshot ever to exist in America. That's true. The most famous. It's the most, right? Ex Trump spokesman Hoagland Gidley joked that such a photograph would be the most manly, most masculine, most handsome mugshot of all time. No booking photograph was taken during the arraignment, and Trump's campaign website began selling t-shirts featuring a pretend mugshot. Okay, so the mugshot hadn't even been made, and they were selling merch. Okay, so this is Vanessa Friedman. She is a fashion critic with the New York Times fashion critic. Vanessa Friedman called the image a mugshot for history that is unprecedented and noted that his face is lit from above by a blinding white flash. Okay, so this was the mugshot that was lit from above, not the one that Daniel Torok took from the bottom. Okay, the mugshot was taken from below, or excuse me, from above. This one was taken from the below. We can see the catchlight in his eyes, right? Okay, so she says, let's see, noted, okay, so he glowers from beneath his brows, unsmiling, eyes rendered oddly bloodshot, brow furrowed, chin tucked in, as if he's about to headbutt the camera. I tried to headbutt the thumbnail. Did you guys appreciate that? My mugshot. Can we just appreciate this one more time? I was going to try to headbutt the camera, right? Okay. Let's see. The image is, he's about to headbutt the camera. The image is stark, shorn of the flag. Okay, the image is stark, shorn of the flags and fancy that have been Trump's preferred framing for photos, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's similar to something, what does it say? The ultimate bookend to a political arc in the United States that began decades ago with Richard Nixon. I'm not a crook. Okay. CNN called the image one of the most iconic images of anyone who ever served as commander-in-chief, and stark in its simplicity in a way that must surely grate for the ex-reality star for whom the image is everything. No, you're kidding me? Surely great. That is something that CNN would say. The Independent observed the 45th president glowers straight into the camera, brow furrowed and sizable bushy eyebrows lowered as he faces his fate, adding, it is undeniable fact that Trump's mugshot is both historically and culturally significant and soon to be seen everywhere forever. It's photography. It's like a mugshot photography. There is a whole genre of mugshot photography that you can go out and like. It's pretty fun. Actually, do you know the photographer Ouija? Not only it wasn't his specialty wasn't exactly mugshots, but it was like crime scenes. It's like crime photography as a whole sort of subgenre of photography. Like ambulance chasers and things like this. Okay, the Telegraph stated that the 45th president is pictured striking a hostile pose with his eyebrows contracted, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Anything interesting? Okay. This is interesting. Okay. His mouth flattened in grimace. Instead of smiling or like some of his co-defendants, he appears to be scowling. BBC News referred to the composition of the picture as a photographer's nightmare. And I just was like relating to that. You're like, okay, hey, all right, give me a smile. And they're like, you're like, okay, well, everybody else is, how about just you? Can I just get a little? And they're like, I don't smile. You're like, okay. And you're like, and they're just like, that sometimes that is kind of actually a photographer's worst nightmare. Okay. This was funny. British film critic Robbie Collin likened Trump's expression to the Kubrick stare. I didn't really remember that. Emblematic of several memorable characters of American filmmaker Stanley Kubrick's films. Somebody will have to help me with that one. The internet memes and commentary of the booking photograph was also said to imitate character Vigo the Cruel's menacing stare featured prominently in Ghostbusters 2, as well as the eponymous character's blue steel pose in the movie Zoolander. Remember Blue Steel? Trump himself made a cameo appearance in the latter. I didn't read that part. Okay, Trump was in Zoolander. And then this was just kind of funny. If you want to go back and read this, you can. But this was a little like what do they call it? Like moviepedia, and the scourge of Carpathia, the Sora of Moldovia, Vigo von Homburg, Deutschendorf, a man who was a man known by many titles: Vigo the Cruel, Vigo the Torturer, Vigo the Despised, Vigo the Unholy, also jokingly referred to as by Dr. Peter Venkman as Vigo the Butch. He's the main antagonist of Ghostbusters 2. Okay. Right? That's kind of funny. I thought that was funny. Okay, let me stop there and read. Oh, hold on. There's a couple more here. He liked the photo so much on the cover of the New York Post that it's framed here in the Oval Office, which is kind of baller. You know, I got to admit, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Okay, hold on. Let me stop here for a second. I bet this is not what you thought we were going to be talking about. Let me read some of these. Are you guys hanging on? Oh, there's some of you guys are hanging on. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for tuning in. This is fun. I've never done one like this. Let's see. Chris Frank, nice to have you here. Oh, wait. James says his tie is so 70s. I think that was the photographers. You're being so exceedingly kind here, throwing the photographer under the bus like that. Sorry about that, Chris Frank. Are you a photographer? Sorry if I hurt any photographers' feelings out there. And then again, great painters had to flatter their patrons in oils usually. So portraiture has a long history of propaganda. There you go. Okay. Brian's brain is broken. Yes, my photographer, like I did not understand how that Daniel, I keep forgetting his name, managed to pull that. No, it's okay to throw shade at this photographer. I don't throw any. I mean, like, hey, maybe I would, the worst thing that can go wrong on a photo shoot is to have no ideas. And hey, the guy had some ideas. I mean, there were some ideas. Somebody made some choices. Somebody made some creative choices. Don Jr. passed the background check, so you should be all right. Standards have evolved. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm really trying to I'm trying to be critical in my judgment here, and open-minded and open to all points of view. Government, yes, so that was an interesting comment from Paul, Breakfast King of Loyola. The issue here may be the likeness rights controlling commercial use of a person's image, not copyright. Oh, interesting, right. Okay, controlling commercial use of a person's image. Okay, that's probably what they were sued for. But that would be funny to get sued for a photograph that you didn't actually own and that somebody else owned. Something kind of similar once like that happened to me. Somebody claimed that somebody who stole my photo claimed that I was using their photo. Yeah, that one was resolved quickly. There are these services out there that will scour the web for metadata that is proprietary. So if you put in your name and your camera and your serial numbers and your naming structure, there will be there you can scour the web for photos, and then you get an attorney to write that'll write you a letter that says hey, we found your photo and they're using, this is, I don't know if they do this anymore, because I think it probably yields almost zero like results and fees, because you can just deflect these claims, by ignoring emails, I think, generally. And it just costs the companies like entirely too much in legal fees to pursue them. And so they just end up giving up on them. And how much of being photogenic is projection? You're asking some tough questions here, 4D. How much of being photogenic is projection? Sure. Yeah, that would be something that you wouldn't want to necessarily, if you wanted to get something in some sort of like natural state, which I think is generally what we're kind of after, something that's like the essence of something that's like not artifice, then yeah, you want to try to break through that notion of like projection of some idea. If someone is politically powerful, this perceived power makes them photogenic. I always have to like sort of untangle these. If someone is politically powerful, this perceived power makes them photogenic. Could be. So Nixon was photogenic. Then again, Gerald Ford was not. I think anybody can be photogenic. Actually, I don't think it depends on a power structure. I think it like, yeah, going. I'm not sure what it depends on. It depends on a handful of things. It's a good, yeah. Another one to crack. Another one to try to unravel. B-sides in the house. What's up, B-sides? I guess they're referring to the look of Jack Torrance in The Shining, looking from under his eyebrow. But that's a bit of a stretch to me. Okay. Yeah, could be. There's got a little bit of red rum in the photo. Yeah. The worst thing to go wrong on a photo shoot is to have to photograph a monster. Can be challenging, can be fun, can be like a creative challenge. As an artist, you can step up and try to take that one on. I would take it on for sure. It would be an opportunity. I would see it as an opportunity. I mean, I know you're being cheeky here, but I speaking of like photographing a monster, a quick one. I once was in a hotel and it's a long story, but the gist of it is that there were bees flying all around, like in the middle of the night. I couldn't, like, I woke up to like bees landing on my bed, wasps maybe even. And I I I woke up at like in the middle of the night and turned the lights on to find this hole in the wall where they were coming in and out of. These are the monsters I'm talking about. And we called the front desk, and the little guy, who the only attendant, this was here in Japan, the only attendant was this little old man who kind of like, maybe we woke him up behind the front desk, and he came upstairs and he had like a fly swatter and like a can of, like, cockroach killer with like a long tube on it. And he walked over to this wall where where all the wasps were coming out of. And I was like, dude, I don't know if that's a good idea, and he's like, just walks over there, sticks this, nozzle in the wall. This like swarm of wasps come out of the wall by the thousands. And I was like, and everybody, there was 4 of us in the room, we we're all running for the door, total panic. And I was like, where's my camera? And I'm like, this is too hilarious. And like, I took my picture. I was like, picture, I got hit. Oh, I got stung. I actually did get stung, and it was all for the photo. I wanted to get a photo, so I did actually have to photograph. I hadn't have the story to tell, so could be a challenge. This is the weird thing to critique, really, like critiquing the DMV photos. Kind of, yeah. I mean, I wanted to dare myself to do it, so I am. The owner of the Keyboard Cat video made quite a bit of money suing people who reuse their work without permission on the web. Interesting. That was the fate of Keyboard Cat. I think Keyboard Cat only died a few years ago. If you hold a flashlight under your chin, it's not good light. Yes, we've talked about that. We were talking about that earlier. Okay, so if anybody can be a photographer, then photogenic is taken away from. If anybody can be photogenic, sorry. If anyone can be photogenic, then photogenic is taken away from the quality in the subject and handed to the facility of the photographer. I think it's a dance, really. Photogenic loses most of its meaning that way. Yeah, everybody can be photogenic. And actually, you can also be anti-photogenic, maybe. That's something that you can also be, which I almost kind of like. I've never said that word before, anti-photogenic, but I mean, in a way, I don't think just it's a good question. I don't really know. I think I'm photogenic. I'm always like, hey, hey, I'm like, I'm quick to like try to make the photo nice with not just like a my I've got lots of pictures of my kids going, you know, I have lots of lovely photos of them as well, but I also have the, yes, I don't know. Yeah, what is that? It's an exchange. I don't think like photogenic kind of implies like good looking or happy or something. Brad Pitt, is he photogenic because he's good looking? I'm not sure. Yeah, good question. Okay, let's keep going here. There's a few more things I want to touch on. So this was a tweet that Donald Trump did after this. Um, right after this mugshot and after the thing went kind of like viral, he put up this image, this tweet, like at the beginning of 2024. How it started, how it's going. Again, like he's a master memer, Pretty funny, pretty funny. What's the word? Trolling. I don't know if that's trolling, but that's cajoling. Not sure. So anyway, I'm looking at this photo. I'm like, wow, that's nice. Okay, who made that photo? I know that style of photographer. That's not Daniel Tolroy or whatever his name is. That's not him. That's another interesting photo, not by this guy. So I'm sort of like wondering, okay, who made this photo? And I look up and find that it is made by this guy called one name Platon, who like I should know, super famous, never heard of him before. He's made this photo of person of the year, and I looked him up, and he says, I first met Donald Trump 22 years ago in Trump Tower. I built a small studio in his office. He had charm and charisma. Even back then, it was clear to me he knew his best side. Okay, so Trump knew his best side. Like there's something telling. He's like, no, don't take me like this, take me like this. I know this is my best side. That's an interesting thing. You don't meet all that many people in photography who know what their best side is. So something kind of interesting about that. Um, he was a master communicator and storyteller, and I was convinced he saw media as a powerful instrument. After the portrait session, he invited me to sit in on some of his business meetings that day while I took some less formal pictures. Then he wrote about the entire shoot in one of his books. Okay. So then I go look up this guy, Platon, and he's it says here he's British, but I think he's also was born in Greece. Okay, so 60 born in 68, British portrait and documentary photographer. Platon was born on 20th of April 1968 in Greece. His father, blah blah blah, was a Greek architect and illustrator, blah 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 blah. After leaving college, okay, so he's well known. Let's see, his photographs have been featured in Times, Esquire, George, New Yorker. Okay, he's like a big deal. So I went and looked at his website, and I was like really impressed. And I saw all these people that I thought we would really like to know about, because they're like music people, a lot of like movie stars and music people, and they were just like excellent and kind of VC slightly related. So I thought, hey, why not like share some of his website with you? Let's see if I can do it. So this is him, and you'll notice that he's holding a camera. He's holding a Hasselblad camera, and it's got like a cord on it, and he's got this like circle of all the people that he's photographed. And this is kind of actually, I immediately knew what this was about. Imagine a photographer standing in front of a big light modifier. Imagine if this was like a big studio strobe right behind him, one of those big sort of brawly, giant, softbox umbrella sort of things right behind him. He's standing. That you'll get to. I think I don't have. Do I have? Well, this is. Let's see. We're gonna look at his website. Actually, let's do this. No, here we'll stop there. Let's look at some of his photos. Can I click through here? People. I mean, there's like entirely too many, but look at these photos. They're just amazing. Obama, Matt Damon, Sly, Trump. Oh, who's she? Is she a Kardashian? Putin, Nicole Kidman, Scorsese, Michael J. I mean, and these photos are exquisite. They're really, really great. This guy was like a master photographer, and I didn't know his name. And like, I was so happy to have discovered him. And it was all because I went down this like crazy dark enlightenment rabbit hole. And this is what I was rewarded with. Michael J. Fox, like, sorry, I just skipped past that one. Michael J. Fox with his fingers like tied up, which just is like, you know, a reflection of his CP, and like it's very cool and clever, and he looks just so cool and handsome and effortlessly cool as he always has been. Elon Musk with his Saturn V, whatever, Falcon 1 rocket or whatever. Nicole Kidman, Donald Trump with the flag. I'll come back to that one later. Scorsese. I'm going to blast through a bunch of them because they're just really good. Harry Styles. I mean, that's good. That's a good portrait. And all the NSYNC boys. Kate Blanchett with the fishnets, Neil Young with the hippie dream backstage pass and his fedora, his battered fedora here, and with his like, what do we call those? Like lumberjack plaid shirt. Dr. Dre, awesome one of Willie in the cowboy shirt. Muhammad Ali, reminiscent of the one that he took so long ago. I don't know if this one is actually as successful as that one with the American flag on his back. Spike Lee with the Spizikes. These are Spike Lee's special Jordans that were made just for him. The Spizikes. You ever had a pair of Spizikes? Obama is the new black. Nice, kind of little boring portrait of Obama, but still cool. This is a weird one of Zuckerberg. When you get too close to a subject with a really wide lens, it starts to distort the features of their face. And this is kind of actually not that flattering of a photo. Like Mark Zuckerberg probably saw this photo. He was like, I don't look anything like this. Why do I look like that? And it's because he used a really wide lens to accentuate, I don't know, make his eyes look big. It kind of like distorts the image. Michelle Yeoh, she's an actress, right? Prince, awesome one of Prince, Bill Clinton, and some of them are quite. Look how cool fucking Bono looks. Looks supremely cool. Oh, young Michelle Obama, little bit too polished. Cartier watch on, skin's a little bit too perfect. Jumbo wedding ring. George Clooney, David Beckham, Muammar Gaddafi. All right, that one's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. Can you imagine? Tyson, De Niro, Serena Williams, Edward Snowden. That's the one I was wondering who. That's not Scorsese, is it? Who is that? You guys know who this is? Let's see. You guys rattle them off if you know. Okay. I love black and white, says B-Sides. I'm reading some of your comments. I'm going to have to come back to him here in a little bit. Samuel Jackson. Oh, there's a couple of great ones of Stephen Hawking. Oh, man, I want to show my son this one. We're reading a book about Stephen Hawking right now. It's really cool. I love that photo. That is really cool. Dude, I got a picture here of Stephen Hawking. Do you want to see from there? I'll show it to you later. Ralph Fiennes, Clooney. That's pretty photogenic, if you ask me. He does pretty good on photos. I think this is Macaulay Culkin. Who is this? This is so good. This is great. I don't know who this is, but I think it's Culkin, but it could be somebody different. Who is that? I don't know. Pacino. Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, I just like looking at these photos, and I just wanted to get online just to share some great photography. Tokyo Record Style is like, I love music is my, I love music and photography equally, and Tokyo Record Style is a chance to like merge my love for music and my love for photography. So I really like to talk about photography, and I just discovered this, and I thought I'd just share it with you. Playton, one name photographer, Playton. Michael Douglas. I mean, they're just all so good. And I mean, like all the lines, it's like you have a line going this way, from the bottom right to the top left, and you have another line that goes this way, and then you have this kind of tilted rule of thirds, and like there's just in the catch lights in his eyes. I keep talking about catch lights. You know, like when you see these like white lights, they're called like specular highlights in people's eyes. They make people look alive, and you know, it's a signature of like, I don't know, great portraiture. And when you don't have a catch light in their eyes, sometimes they can look, people can like look a little dead. We'll try to find an example. This one, he's like kind of too far away to notice, but awesome picture of Adrian Brody, Forrest Whitaker. Cool, like, you know, cool poses. Right? The two catch lights. It's so in shadow over here, but there's just a catch light that allows you to see his eye. Makes him look alive. Again, here, the two catch lights in the eyes. No catch lights here. And it kind of like, you know, I'm not going to say it's unsuccessful. Whoa, you can zoom in and zoom out. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are we doing? Let me go back. Okay. Kirk Douglas, Schwarzenegger, Benicio del Toro, Tina Fey. I mean, that's so good. That is so good. I mean, it's a little bit too good, to be honest. It's like a little bit too perfect. Like a woman, like her skin is not that smooth, not that perfect, not that rosy. I mean, it's definitely like there's some Photoshop going on in there. John Leguizamo, I love him. He's so cool. Oh, Donald Sutherland looking supremely cool with the like awesome beard and the like scraggly beard and the suit. Man, I wish he like was at my wedding. Julie Delpy, she's, I think, isn't that like Ethan Hawke's wife? Gary Oldman looking subversive. I don't know all these people. Awesome one of Christian Bale, Jude Law. Oh man, that's so good. This guy is like, I mean, he goes back a long way. I think Heath Ledger, I mean, there's like some of them are no longer with us, which is a little bit sad. I think like Philip Seymour Hoffman, I saw there, Susan Sarandon. I mean, right? Look, and another really cool thing that is probably not coming off on the camera on the screen so well, but there's like so much texture. All the fashion that he's photographing, it's probably for these like glossy fashion magazines. There's you can see the fabric, you can see the tightness of the stitching and the quality of the thread. It's like it's all, you can see it in all the photos. Really nice. Kate Blanchett, awesome one of Dustin Hoffman. This is where it gets a little bit weird, right? Right? That one didn't age very well. Michael Moore looking admittedly pretty freaking cool. Awesome one of Jim Carrey. I mean, guys, they're just all so good. Josh Brolin, hero, like Goonies, right? With the nice watch on. Ethan Hawke, Martin Sheen, Daniel Craig, Roger Moore. 4D, like that one. Will Smith, another one. It's like, poor Will Smith. Man. Kevin Bacon, supremely cool. Kevin Bacon's an audio guy. He's a record guy. Kevin Bacon loves records. Spike Lee, Hammer. I mean, there's just like so many. I think David Byrne. There we go. There's some music. I'm just blasting past these, but like other music people. Aaron Sorkin. Okay, David Byrne. Really interesting one of David Byrne. Marilyn Manson. Wow, look at his tattoos. I'd never really seen his tattoos like that before. Beautiful jewelry. Fergie. Leonard Cohen. Look how groovy and hip and cool Leonard Cohen. I just like, was so moved. I was like, oh, this is definitely vinyl community related. This is definitely, I'm going to go off on this. Ozzy, look at this one of Ozzy. It's so good. It's so nice. It's so sweet. I wonder if it's a real tear. I doubt it, but look at those two. I was just so happy to stumble upon these. They had like the service today, right? Or yesterday, whenever it was. Tony Bennett. This is cool because like, you know, he's, the whole portrait is in shadow except for the backlight and the side light. And what's really cool is that all the light is, you know, it comes over here. It's coming from the side here, like in slightly in front of him, because you see the one catch light in his eye and on his cheek, and it's just ever so slightly illuminating his ear and his lapel here. That's another masterful photo. I actually was lucky enough to see Tony Bennett once. Sean Combs holding his grill in his teeth. Oh, Angelica Hughes, an awesome one of her. Sinead O'Connor. Right? Aren't these great? Clayton. I wonder, I'm sure I'm just like, you can't know everybody. And you'd think I would have definitely come across him before, but I didn't. Wynton Marsalis. Sing you. Berlusconi. Ry Cooter. Mazzy will love that one. Look how cool Ry Cooter looks. Good grief. That's a good one. That's like so much texture, you know? So much texture. Most Def. Look how much texture there is in this pinstripe suit. It's like, oh man, this is all kinds of right. The contrast of the hands and the lines of the hands, the pose, the suit. Man, I love it. So good. I mean, look at all that. That's awesome. Even just that like crop would be cool. Whoa. Like that. Also cool. Anyway. Moby. Ornette Coleman. Look at Ornette Coleman's like braided hair with his incredibly gorgeous saxophone here. Amazing. The headband, he looks like or is this like some crazy sort of Chinese style hat? Crazy floral satin shirt, giant lapel jacket. So supremely cool. Colin Kaepernick, another one of Willie with Trigger. Oh, hey. I put guitar strings on my guitar. On my classical guitar that has a hole in it. This is my Trigger. I did it yesterday. It's very, very happy about that. I'm going to play some guitar here on the coming days. Michael Stipe with like a mohawk. Thought that was really cool. Boris Johnson. How do the Brits out there like Boris Johnson? Maplethorpe, I see somebody mentioning in the comments. I mean, they're just like Deborah Harry. Oh, here's this one's awesome. Like you know who this is. You don't even know you don't even need to like look at the caption. You don't even need to see the front of her face to know who this is. Right? If I hadn't have told you the last photo was Deborah Harry, this would have come up and you would have been like, I know exactly who this is. That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. Man, Stevie, what a legend. 50 Cent looking young and thin. He got thick. Look at that expression. Clive Davis. Look at all that texture too. Look at those like tweed pants and that like, oh, it's a beautiful wool jacket. So nice. John Bon Jovi smoking a cigarette. That's not good for your voice, dude. Oh, Nigel Rodgers with his Fender. That's sick. Nigel Rodgers has the coolest sunglasses. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Look how cool this is. Look at that mustache. Dang. Bobby McFerrin. I saw Bobby McFerrin live. Amazing concert. He did the whole thing where he's like, okay, this half of this audience, this side of the audience, okay, and then he just like soloed over the whole thing. It was so fun. Justin Timberlake, young Justin Timberlake, Quincy looking like Clyde Huxtable a little bit. That's a Cosby sweater. Harry Belafonte, man. Playton, just like so good. Roy Haynes, Yvonne Chaka Chaka. Who's that? Should I know who that is? Who's that? Who's Yvonne Chaka Chaka? Taj Mahal, man. Gold tone guitar. That's a great photo. That's also like tempting to like put that, guitar like slightly more out of focus. That took a lot of restraint, that photo. I'm sure it did. I'm sure for you to be able to read that gold tone, that a photographer had to have restraint to make that photo. That's probably shot like an f11, believe it or not. And he's just close. He's that close to the subject where you get that depth of field. You have to know how that equation works. It's like a crazy equation that I don't even think you can really understand. You just have to know it. You have to use the force. These are definitely riffing on Irving Penn's work. Irving Penn has this exact same pose. All of them, these pea coats. This is a kind of a cool one because, like, look what's going on here. You have a line going this way from left to right. Then you have a line going this way from right to left. Then you have like a nose kind of going this way, and then you have eyes going this way. There's like all kinds of lines. There's all cool directions of lines that your eyes get led through places. They come up the shoulder, and then they go up the chin, and they go back out this way. That's like a really cool, successful photo. Wyclef Jean, Jimmy Heath, Tim McGraw. I mean, it's like everybody's like so many cool people. Time Cook. There's a misspell. Time Cook. Jack Dorsey. That's a Twitter, right? Vivian Westwood. Look at this photo of Vivian Westwood. Good grief. Buzz Aldrin. Look at this ring that he has on his finger. He's got like a moon and like a is that the lunar lander? That's cool. Buzz Aldrin. I met Buzz Aldrin, I think more than once. My grandfather knew him. There's the ring. It's a star, maybe. Wow, that's pretty cool. Come on. Reed Hoffman, Ariana Huffington, Ted Turner. I mean, God, just like one after another. I mean, are you guys? I know you don't feel obliged, but it's Putin. My good grief. Bush Senior. Stay the course. 1,000 points of light. That's a pretty good photo. I mean, but like compare all these to that Trump photo, you know? They're all really good, but they're not like a Rembrandt. Young Yoko Ono. Young Nancy Pelosi. Muammar Gaddafi. Look how like unsymmetrical his face is. Netanyahu. That's kind of a. He's also got that very unsymmetrical face. Donald Trump. There's Trump. Okay, I didn't even see this one. There's Trump all the way there in the background. The end of the board meeting table desk. Just insane access. Crazy. I'm embarrassed. I didn't know his name. Mugabe. Holy shit. Wow. Okay, Capitol Hill, Greenspan, McKinney. Wow, that's pretty. And like, look at Ann Coulter. She's like, there's a monster. That's not a bad job. She's all right. That looks pretty. She looks pretty nice. She looks pretty sweet. I wouldn't mind being. She's right. She'd be fun to hang out with. You'd have a good time debating her. She'd give you a run for your money. Probably like have a laugh in the end. I feel like she's just Ben Bernanke. God, I mean, there's just like okay. Should I, am I? Can you believe this? I mean, there's just so many. Where's the musicians? I want to see some more musicians. Athletes. There's Magnus Carlsen, the famous chess player. He's young, Magnus Carlsen. Movie stars: Shaun White, snowboarder, Larry King. Ooh, Bruce Dern. Cool. My ex-girlfriend's uncle was Bruce Dern. Alicia Keys, Marissa Tomei, Redford. Am I hanging on to you guys like, yeah, Ben Stiller? I'm just like, that's a great one too. So fantastic. Questlove, looking cool. Sometimes eyes closed is an interesting move to pull off. I've done it a lot of times. You just get a feeling. It's just like, you know what? Why don't you try close your eyes? Okay. And you close it and you're like, wow, I like it. I don't know why, but I like it. It's a thing you can do. Eastwood looking supremely cool. Good grief. Colbert without his glasses. I mean, looking pretty, you know, Spielberg with the jean jacket on. In the theater, maybe? In the movie theater? Spielberg again. That was not as successful as the last one. No, the glass is not a great choice. Maybe. I'm not sure. Look at this one of Stephen Hawking, dude. He's kind of a fashionista, you know. He's got this like, what do they call it? Like cravat. He's got like he looks properly cool. He's got those Hollywood sunglasses on. That's pretty awesome. Tony Blair. I mean, God, they're just like Pussy Riot. They go on and on and on. Powell, Condoleezza Rice, Madeleine Albright, Tom Wolfe. There he is with George Louis. Who's that? I don't know who that is. Another photographer. Wow. I mean, Leibowitz, another hero of mine. Oh God, I love these portraits of Howard Stern. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. That's another one, like the transition of like young Howard Stern to sort of older Howard Stern. I really like old Howard Stern. I just like him so much. He got so good. He started out so bad and so funny. And like I got to grow up with him. It was really cool. Paul Smith. I met Paul Smith a handful of times. He's got a bunch of shops in Tokyo. He comes to Japan frequently. Okay. Younger Trump. Oh, good grief. That was on the album cover. I think that was an album cover. Glenn Close, Obama. Okay, I think we're getting here to the end. Okay, guys, that was that. Okay, we literally went through all of those. Can you believe we did that? That was rather insane. Let me read some comments here. Photogenic, 40 Man's mentioning you are photogenic, which makes me wonder whether being photogenic is tied to charisma. Oh, I take that as a compliment. Charisma, I heard, is my friend asked me to define charisma one time. What's charisma? I said, what is charisma? Somebody write in the comments what they think charisma is. What do you think? I'll give you 5 seconds to decide what is charisma. That's the question of the day. Oh, I can tell I'm lagging a little bit. Probably the stream is, I'm getting to the, what is charisma? Dun, 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 dun. I'll zip down to the bottom of the comments here. Dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 dun, da, da, dun, 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 dun. No answers for charisma. Okay. I said that it was like sort of like, I don't know, good natured, leadery, happy-go-lucky. I'm not sure. Magnetic personality. And my friend told me it's the ability to attract people without trying. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm attracting people without trying, but I'm just thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. I'm not putting on a bunch of artifice. I probably am a bit, but I'm trying. I'm just trying to be myself. Kids today take enough selfies to know how to work lighting and angles to take better pictures than 99% of the snapshots made previous to the internet. Laugh out loud. That's an interesting thought. That's actually pretty interesting. Like, it's fun to look at the progression of photography as a medium, as like a publicly owned, like democratic medium. It's pretty interesting to me to see, photography was, the first medium that depicted the world as it is and not an interpretation, not an impression of reality. It was actual reality. So it asks the question, should photography be realistic like it can and kind of is by default, or can it, or should it, or can it be surrealistic, or can it be impressionistic? And I think different people kind of, yeah, like you just see it kind as it flows through the hands of the public, because anybody can do it. It's an easy art form to do, essentially. Actually not, but if the cameras are smart enough and you're kind of daring enough, then it's a rather easy format to do. And so, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm not sure if they're 99% better. It's a good question. I tend to think maybe no, actually. Could even be worse, because they just, especially if you like think about this, the hit rate, like the hit rate could be so low that I don't know, previous generations are infinitely better. Another side of the topic. The time pose is sat on a mountaintop, mountain light glow. I reached the top because I'm a visionary. Look, that photo is all about body pose, face not so important. Yeah, the one of Trump where he's like sitting on the mountain. Yes, he's essentially like sitting on top of a box, and like the pyramid is always a strong shape in art and in photography. And so, yeah, definitely there was, a sensibility about the triangle shape, the pyramid shape. Pyramid is like the strongest structure I think that you can build. And yeah, you never really take a pro tip. You should always bend the rules, but know that you should always take people basically on eye level or slightly above. And you should not really take photographs from like below looking up. Now that's the general, very, very general rule. But like women look better when you photograph them from above and they're batting their eyes at you. Beep 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 beep. Hello. And men sometimes look good when they're statuesque and you're taking photos from below and up. But generally, kids don't look that great when you're like taking photos like standing up. You should get on their level, get into their world. Like it's kind of like a eye to eye is typically where you want to start, but you bend the rules. And in this case, the time pose, Trump is like, I'll pull it up again real quick. Um, by Platon. Yeah. You can see like it's coming from below the knee. Even his knee is here and it's coming all the way from below. So yeah, very much like you're right, 40. It's like a mountaintop. Um, okay, that's a parentheses. Okay, I love black and white. Zuckerberg looks like an evil elf. Okay, not far off from the truth. Okay, he seems like a little bit of a robot more than an elf, or I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure. Breakfast, a bit alien. Okay, you guys are chatting to each other. It's interesting to hear George W. talk about his paintings. Well, yeah, we all thought he was sort of, the pure evil that some of you have been calling Trump, but kind of, he got pretty marshmallowy there, right at the end. Bush looked like the kid from Mad Magazine. Yeah. Oh, what was his name? Oh, somebody will know. Edward E. Newman. Was that his name? Edward E. Newman. Uh, George, what, me worry? Bush? Yes, that one. Alfred E. Newman. Do I have that right? Bush's eye said, want to see me blow some shit up? This could be, yeah, he did blow up a lot of shit. I think he did. Yeah, Mapplethorpe. Okay, Robert Mapplethorpe, famously who photographed New York sort of uh, LGBT queer worlds, and who was famously like I think in a lot of gay clubs, and who famously was also Patti Smith's significant other for a while. Did some beautiful photography with Patti Smith as the subject. Some of my favorite photos. Yeah, I think most of the album covers of the Patti Smith records are all done by Robert Mapplethorpe. Yvonne Shaka is Trump's black friend. Okay, I don't know well about that. More interesting Beatles photos are candid shots by Apple scruffs loitering outside their premises. Ooh, okay, more interesting Beatles photos. Yeah, I'd like to see those face expressions and body language, unlike all the photo assignments. Street photos, really. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are really great. I actually got some really nice. I don't think my autofocus is going to work, but I got some really nice Beatles postcards the other day. My friend sent them to me. They were really lovely. All these Beatles at the Budokan. How do you get past the persona? You don't get past the persona. If you get past the persona, I think you're failing. I think that's what you're trying. That's what you're trying. That's what you're going for. How do you get to the persona? I think is the question. Dan B in the house. Nice to have you. I much prefer my Trump photo. What's your Trump photo? Oh, okay. You've got something. Riz. Okay. I think that was the answer to the question. What is charisma? It says Orinoco Folojo. Riz. Yes, charisma. Charisma is Riz. Did I get to the bottom? Okay. Okay, so those are comments. Believe it or not, this goes on. Believe it or not, we're going to keep going here. It's a little crazy. Okay, so something that I didn't mention is that let me see if I can pull one up real quick. Let me just pull up a quick one. Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get a close one. Come on, give me a close one. The Zuckerberg one is pretty good. As for what I want to explain, this will be kind of interesting, I think. That Zuckerberg one was good. Well, here, I'll pull this one up. Guys, one more look at the pose here, okay? The pose here. Platon is standing in front of this thing, and I told you, try to imagine it being like a big light diffuser, okay? So what he's doing, here, we'll pull this up. Notice this is him right here, and he's taking a picture of Trump. And look, this big white thing that's right over here, that is the light box that is right behind him. So when he's here, this is how he's photographing. His strategy is to stand right in front of the light source, right in front of the giant circle light source that is behind him. He doesn't care about him blocking some of the light. That is his MO. That is his design sensibility, his photographic sensibility is to insert himself into the photo. And if you were to see his photographs and look at the catchlight in people's eyes, you will see the diffuser that's behind him, and you will see him. You can just barely make out, like, if we zoom in, let's see if we can zoom in. There he is. There's his head right there. You can see it, right? There's his head. Wonder if I can, let's see if we can see it again. This is what I encourage you. Go to the cosmetics department in the shopping mall and go look in people's irises. You will be able to see the photo studio in them. Let me find another good one. This is probably, yeah, there you go. You can see his head bopping in front, and it actually, like, if you go look at illustrations, you will find you go find it illustrate like a comic book illustrator. They always have this like little notch, and he knows that. He definitely knows that. So you don't get this perfect circle. Occasionally do, because you can't just get it right every single time. But like, here, let's look at this one of Harry Styles. I mean, you can see his head poking through there, but there's a circle. Let's see if we can just see another one. I don't know. I find that the Zuckerberg one, it was quite obvious. Yeah, you can see him there. There's his head. And there's ones that are even more pronounced. So when you see this image of him standing in front of the light source, then you get the idea that, like, that's what he's doing. That's what you see when you're sitting as his subject. So again, like, Edward Snowden, Pamela Anderson, Muhammad Ali, these were some of the examples. So this is kind of a nice little story. Or, take it for what it's worth. It's just kind of a moment that sounded interesting. While my team set up the studio adjacent to the main lounge at Mar-a-Lago, the president's personal playlist was piped through the hidden speakers. Interesting. The president's personal playlist. My Way, by Frank Sinatra. What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. It's a very basic list. Nobody Does It Better by Carly Simon. Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. Interesting choice. Beat It by Michael Jackson. And Winner Takes All by ABBA. Or ABBA, depending on how you say it. Santi, how do we say ABBA? Do we say ABBA or do we say ABBA? After a 3-hour delay, he finally appeared surrounded by his team and Secret Service. Today, Trump's power dominates the room. We briefly talked about our last meeting. So much had happened to him since then. I asked him about the playlist I had been listening to. They're all my favorite songs. I chose every one of them, 2,000 in all. I told him I felt each song was a message. He smiled. I chose them for a reason, he said. Okay, so there's Trump's musical interests. We talked about that moment at CPAC where he hugged and kissed the flag on stage, something no other politician would do. Would you let me photograph you with a flag to honor that moment? I asked. As he stood with his arms around the flagpole, he gestured a kiss for a second. I caught it on film. He squeezed the fabric and said, "We're going to fix it." Okay. So that's just, as from a photography point of view, it's a very interesting anecdote, a couple of very interesting anecdotes. So I was scrolling along and I find yet another portrait of Trump on Time magazine. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Look at this one. Okay, it's different. I'm sure it's not the same photographer. For some reason, I can instantly tell. And I'm looking at it and I see here in the catch lights of his eyes a light source on the right side and then a light source on the left side, a vertical rectangular light source on the left and a smaller one on the right. And I know that pattern. That's two patterns. I've used that pattern before. That's not the big light source behind you. These are the trademarks, the signatures that you can know about photographers. I look up the name Martin Scholler, German photographer who is pretty interesting character, lives in New York City, and he's also photographed everybody. And his photos are also lots of musicians and lots of artists. And I thought I would just go ahead and feature his website a little bit. So I'm going to pull his website up. Here he is with Natalie Portman, and you'll notice that his signature is these light sources on both sides of the pupil. He doesn't put light above or below. He puts it on each side, which doesn't really create, arguably, maybe light that our eyes are the quality of light that our eyes are really familiar with seeing. It creates something a bit weird. Lots of people use ring lights for their YouTube videos. Guess what ring lights put in? Guess what they do in your pupils? They create little donuts. Where in the natural world do we have donut lights? And you know what happens to the donut light? People put them right in front of their face, and their pupils get circled by light, and they look freakish. They look really weird. They look like this. Sometimes they look like they have two pupils or something. You ever seen the pupil of a goat? The pupil of a goat is very weird, like rectangle. Go look at the pupils of goats. They have rectangular pupils, and they look. If you saw go watch Rick and Morty. Anytime they go to a different universe, they meet up with these aliens that have multiple pupils. It's a very weird thing. Actually, there's a condition where you can sometimes have multiple pupils, I think. Anyway, let me pull up his website because it's phenomenal, and I just want to share it because there's a lot of musicians in there. And then that's gonna be the end. This is slide 20. So the dark enlightenment, I just turned it into the light enlightenment. It was the photography enlightenment. You didn't expect that this was going to be about photography, about lighting, about Bono, about Paris Hilton, about these Aborigines who are living in Brazil. Let's see if I can zip through these. These are really Cyndi Lauper. Look at Cyndi Lauper. Questlove. More of these people living. I don't know them all. You guys will know this. Zidane, what's his name? Soccer star. Judi Dench. Look at those pupils, blue pupils. I forget what her name is. Let's go to close up. Let's go to portraits. I think I can just kind of, no, wait, let's go to close up. I think that's the series we should see. Willie. Man, cool. Oh, this is going to go slow. Harry Belafonte, getting older. Uh-oh, I'm going to have to know my references. Natalie Portman. I'm not going to know everybody. Oof, I've forgotten her name. Oh, Amy Adams. There's the names down there. Okay, can you see? Okay. I see a little thing. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Let me try this. Still working? Okay, Warren Buffett. Really nice lighting. Let me see. Can we just, what happens if we go on series? I want to see like a big, okay, is that the only way to do it? What if I do this? Oh, there we go. Okay, who do you want to see? David Lynch? Man, that's cool. That's cool. Kind of a little hot for Anne Hathaway. What a babe. Bono's looking cool. I mean, it's the usual suspects. Cher. Let's have a look at Cher. A little bit out there. I think I definitely preferred. I do like this picture of David Lynch. I think I preferred Plantin's photos. There's Larry David. There's like these are almost like expressionless. Look at this one of Bradley Cooper. He doesn't even look like. Is he? Is he like? He looks a little nervous. He looks like a look at Hillary Clinton. She looks like a wax museum character. Oh, not sure. I've something. I had a little bit. Some of them were okay. I'm just kind of dancing around. Wow. The portraits were nice. There's this other series where, yeah, a cool one of David Lynch. These are like more environmental. Wow, Clint Eastwood looking supremely cool. That's kind of a riff off Annie Leibovitz. John Siegel with Puppet. That's funny and cool. Bob De Niro. I'll call him Bob De Niro on the subway eating some soy chips. Lyle Lovett rodeoing this cow with some nice boots. Wow, that's pretty cool. He's got one of those unsymmetrical faces. Alexei Navalny. Wow, what a portrait. Okay, wow, Jane Goodall. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Wow, that's so nice. Tom Wolfe. God, I'm almost tempted to show you my website. Jack White. My websites, I kind of stopped paying attention to it. I have like 10 websites that I kind of manage, and my poor website has like the template that I'd been using for ages and ages and ages finally shit the bed. And it was like, if you don't look at this one of Stephen Colbert, this one's hilarious with the eagle, like will soar for food. My website, so I had to like pick a new template, and the new template wasn't like formatted exactly for the way my website worked, and so I just like haven't got around to fixing it. So like all these photos are dying on my website, but I'll show you. They're a little old, but not really reflective of my work. But let's pull it up. Well, why not? It's going to be a little embarrassing, but a few of them should be okay. There's Chantel Martin. She's an artist in New York. These are the captions aren't coming in either. These are 8 by, or what are they? They're 4x5 black and white photos, Polaroid photos. That one's broken. There is Michelle Jones, Mijonju, kind of a famous Tokyo character. There's my friend Adam. There's David Stetson. What do you guys think? These are my photos now. This is where it gets a little bit wonky. This is like, yeah, not bad, eh? You'll have to go to brianscottpeterson.com to check them out. Let me read some of your comments and then I'm going to bounce. Um, a few more comments. Orinoco, you chose a great name. My name, Brian, Tokyo Record Style. Which name? I chose a great name. Maybe I'm not sure. Are you joking at me? Is that 7-inch 4D? Is that a 7-inch? Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Stunty. I really appreciate the parentheses. It helps me read the comments easier. Okay, I find some of these light sources to be pinpoint the eyes counterproductive. They don't suggest an inner life, but rather a trance state. Yeah, I mean, the second photographer more so than the first, I think. Yeah, Martin Scholler. It's interesting. I think you only saw like a tiny body of work, of a tiny portion of his body of work. There's a lot to it, and those are that is a trademark, if you will. I don't necessarily have a trademark, but I want to make like book jacket. Oh God, come on. I want to make book jacket covers. All my photos are broken. I could pull them up somewhere else, but at any rate, and then I think I might have, I don't even know how this website works. This one maybe? Wait, projects, where is it? I ought to spend the weekend like working on this. There I am with my big camera. How do I get to my projects? I don't know. I don't even I was like, oh, it works. It's a presence. It's an online presence. Okay. At any rate, there should be more stuff on here. I don't know where it is though. It's buried somewhere. You guys manage WordPress sites. I'm managing WordPress sites. This is my Cinar Swiss made 8x10 camera with my, this is a really special lens. This is a really, really special lens. This is my Nikolai Perscheid lens. This lens came from Germany probably 150 years ago to Japan. And it was made by a guy called Nikola Perscheid. And he asked that question, whether or not photography should be realistic or surrealistic. And he made a lens that that depicted not necessarily life as it was, but life as he might imagine it to be. And it's very, very nice lens that I don't ever hardly use anymore. It's kind of a travesty. Okay, well that kind of wraps it up. That kind of that's I'm kind of done with it. That's it was a fun little exercise. It was just meant to be like a I went down the Trump rabbit hole, and what was it? The dark enlightenment, and it was fun. I kind of had like a good time. It was kind of a riot. I didn't really hold on, I'll pull it up. It was fun. I just the plan was to read a little bit about dark enlightenment and why that I should read this and why it was important to me. And I ended up down this crazy rabbit hole of kind of hilarity. Let me stop here. Hold on a second. It's not letting me share. Let's try once more. Oh, you're not going to let me share? Why not? What do you guys think? Tokyo versus Trump. Did I do okay? I made this photo like 2 seconds before this stream started. It was just meant to be I tried my best to give it a little headbutt. What do you guys think? It was fun. It was yeah. So the dark web, it was the dark enlightenment. It was, I saw these amazing portraits by these a photograph, and this oil painting, and just compared to these schmoes, these like what are they? They're a part of the alt right. Where is it? A community, an informal community of bloggers. We're the Seattle Seven. You ever heard of those guys? Yeah, we're the Seattle Seven, the political community bloggers and political theorists who have been active since the late 2000s. It was kind of a riot. I read that and was like, come on, guys, make some. And look at the legends. Look at the legends that came before you. And then next thing you know, I'm down a Trump rabbit hole, and I found this amazing portrait, and had to know who made it. And that's what happened, And I feel enriched for it. To be honest with you, I like went and found two new photographers I wouldn't have otherwise learned about, and I got to hang out with you, and it was fun. It was a good time. So thank you for indulging me. I had a really good time. Um, the old black lady was one of the Greenwood Massacre survivors. Okay, interesting. Yes, I think I've seen her speak. Greenwood Massacre is a hometown bit of history, a very dark moment in American history. The Tulsa Massacre that happened in what 19? Help me out, Nathan. 1921, maybe 29. It wasn't that late, was it? It was kind of 1921. I'm going to say. I remember Maz did a fantastic photo of Coffee Julie, who was leaning across a pool table taking a shot, made CJ Coffee Julie look like a huntress. Ooh, okay. Now I know I'm biased, but it was a fab photo. Okay. I can find it if you're desperate. I'll pass. I think Coffee Julie, I think she once said something slightly, whatever. Um, I'm kind of desperate myself. I'll go find it. Go find it. Beautiful. Yeah. Clickbait, good clickbait. Where's Trump? Well, I've been talking about Trump I've talked about him for quite a while. So OJCs, you're late. Yes, you're very late. We were talking about Trump. We went fairly deep into Trump. It was fun. It was an interesting. Yeah, I'll admit it was it was a lot clickbaity, but I did want to talk about Trump. I did want to talk about this portrait, and I think I did a good job. I think I weaved a yarn there. I pulled it together. Do I get at least a B plus B? Get a solid B for effort? Okay, my throat is hurting again, and I'm tired, and yeah, I was feeling bad, and then I was feeling good, and now I'm feeling bad again. So I'm gonna hit the hay and yeah, get some rest. So really appreciate you hanging out. Leave a comment, please. And I really like you could be anywhere. I really appreciate you being here, genuinely. I know that's like easy to say, but I think like the most precious gift you can give somebody is like your time, you know? You can't get that back. And so I really do. I mean, I know that there's an exchange, but I do feel grateful for the attention and for the moments to share. I don't mean to sound insincere, but I genuinely do. And I like the chance to talk about photography and music. It's like I just feel so blessed. For the longest time, I wanted to try. I wanted so badly to find a way to like do photography and music together, and like it just wasn't concert photography. And like album covers just don't come around enough for you to really for that to be like an opportunity. And to find music on the streets of Tokyo has been and like photograph it and then like talk about it has been a real blessing to a great way to find a way to mash my love for photography and my love for um, music. So yeah, we're gonna go off in some different directions here. I'll keep doing that, and I hope I think like photography and music go together well. And I think a lot of people, especially who are into like records, are also into like film cameras. And like I don't have that much time or patience to shoot film. I shot a lot of film back in the day. But I love the darkroom. I love all of the photography process. For the photography process is so long it's such a long process, even though it's really cool in that way. It's like it starts with nothing, right? It starts with absolutely nothing. And then you have this like idea. And then you have this like concept, right? And they all come in slightly different ways. Maybe it's a thing that comes, maybe it's something that you're looking for, but something comes into your mind's eye. You see something, and you compose, and like you get the opportunity to like this, to make some creative choices, right? And then you get more the choices here, and then you get to like have this like empathy thing that I was talking about, and you get to share with either an inanimate thing or like a momentary thing or like an actual heart to heart thing, or even not necessarily a heart to heart thing, like I said, it's the like sometimes the smile that I'm going for isn't necessarily the smile in the photo. It's the smile that you are having years and years after the moment it was made. It's that smile that I'm going for sometimes. And then you have this like, you have this like crescendo, right? You have all this energy coming up to this one moment, right? There's this one important moment that like that's the photo, right? Like a painting, like you make it and then you make it and make it and make it. But if a photo, like it comes to this moment where you snap the photo and ping, and you that's the photo, right? That's what you get. But then that's just kind of another beginning, because it goes on, and next thing you know, you're developing, and there's all this kind of thing, or you unplug it or unwind it or lose it and have to redo it and find, there's like so many, and then you get into the dark room, and that's like a whole nother world, whether it be the digital dark room or the analog dark room. And that's just still yet another beginning. And then it's like this, you put together maybe a Facebook post, or maybe an exhibition, or maybe a book, or maybe an album cover, or maybe a love letter or a postcard. It really, like, then there's this other thing where it goes out, and so like, and in the course of the photograph, in the life of the photograph, there's all these important moments, right? All these important moments, the conceptualizing, the going out, the moment you do it, the dark room, the like printing, the displaying, and then somebody's in front of you and like taking your timeline into their own perception. And like you could ask yourself, like, of all of those parts, which one is the most important? Forget about like, connecting with people, afterwards, through photography, or like going and researching the camera that you want, like it extends even further. But of all of those moments, like, what's the most important moment of them all? And there's no right answer. It's like everybody gets to decide which is their favorite moment. It's either looking at them or thinking about them or taking them. Some people take photos and they don't even develop them. They don't even care about developing. They just want to take them. So everybody has a different way to look at it, and it's really cool. And there's like so many creative choices that you can make. So it's really a great privilege to be able to talk about photography and music. My guitar is sounding good. All right. Well, thanks. It sounds really good. Jesus left Chicago, headed down to New Orleans. Yeah. Okay. You guys have a good night or afternoon or evening or wherever you are in the world, and appreciate you guys hanging out. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll see you on the next stream. Bye. おやすみなさい。